Culture, I think, is really important. Culture you're creating in the business, that you're fortunate that you have got to a point where you are in a lovely opportunity to create a culture that is passionate and enthusiastic about accountancy, bookkeeping, and passing that onto your clients.
I want everyone around me to succeed. If it's only me succeeding, then that feels horrible and lonely. Everyone needs to come, and that's clients. And I think when you start taking on, and I think this helped with the fact that I've got the 6-figure bookkeepers club, and I've got lots of people watching me. And that's really, it means that I have to be running the best practice I can possibly. I'm going to make mistakes, and I own up to them. I go into the group all the time and say, I've messed up. This is wrong. I've lost a client. That didn't work out well, because I think it's all about sharing the ups and downs. But when you've got lots of people watching you, it does make you perform the best. It's a bit like when someone says, I'm coming around in 10 minutes, and then you're the best cleaner in the world for those 10 minutes. It's because people are going to come and see what's happening. So I think actually, if you can have another bookkeeper or another accountant that's in business similar size to yours, that you can talk about, a community that you can share and be really open with and hold each other accountable, there's so much value to be had like that. Because I think as well, because we're running, actually, our businesses are very different, because we're responsible, not that we're 100% responsible, but I feel responsible for all of my client successes. So actually we're running however many clients' businesses that we've got. That's quite a lot of responsibility. So I think you do have to add a bit of fun and make it, a bit more lighthearted, or else I've seen the people that have got like 200 tax returns to do in January and all that. We've made it. So I think we've got 2 left. No one, we're not having that kind of, it's just a non-negotiable. I don't want to have that kind of business. So again, we get to choose.
Yeah, boundaries are really important. And as you said, at the beginning, the onboarding process is so important, because that is your sort of one, or your first opportunity, and probably the most important opportunity to set the tone of what you expect, and whether it's going to be a long-term relationship. And I think that's kind of what all accountants and bookkeepers want. Like, you want client retention. You want this thing, I heard it called long-term games of long-term people. Because that's when you see your sort of most return on your investment. Because onboarding a client is tough. Getting them to learn how you work is tough. Getting them disciplined to give you stuff monthly. Like, we barely do monthlies, because I find at least difficult to get people on board with, because a month goes by like that. So going back to kind of the thing about, you were saying about, well, we started off, you were talking about how you don't do the compliance and you have the accountant, and the accountant kind of is looped in when he needs to know. If you are a bookkeeper and you don't do year end, and sort of the software is evolving, and they're like, oh, do you know what? Like, now you can do year end accounts, and now you can do the corporation tax return. Do you think we're going to see like a bit of an evolution into like bookkeepers kind of trying to dip into that territory? And if so, do you think that's an opportunity, or do you think it's more of a pitfall?
So I'll talk for myself and the community and the kind of trends that are happening there. I think it's a bit like the adverts that are on TV. Your clients could do the bookkeeping as well. Would we advise them to do that? Do they have the knowledge and the insight? They can do it. Are they going to do a good job? Most probably not. And I would question, it's all about your training and understanding and experience. For me, I know where I can add value. And that's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay in my lane and add value there. And if the software enables us to do things more streamlined, and we get the support from you, and he's like, yes, if you can go and produce that and I will oversee it, maybe there's something to be done there. But I really do think you need to know where you add value, what you want to do, what are your goals? Do you want to do be all things to all people? I see it in the salons as well. They offer every service under the sun. And I say to them, you've got that laser machine that you spent £100,000 on in a dark room in the corner. and you've not done anything with it because they felt they had to offer that high-end service. But then haven't really got the confidence to see it through, or they haven't done the training, or it's not up to date. When you think about CPD, what do you want to be doing that on? Or, I mean, to be honest, with regards to, the VAT, the payroll and the CIS and the daily bookkeeping, the management accounts, I'm fine. I've got enough on my plate. I don't need to be learning the ins and outs of tax and R&D and everything. I'm happy to give that over to an expert, because actually what I want is my clients to experience expert advice.
Yeah.
And so for me, but then what I'm doing is, and I like doing, is learning more about other things and about mindset and goal setting, accountability, and business. So I want to do more of that. So for me, it's not for me, but for somebody else, they might get a kick out of learning and training in that area. And if they think they can do it, and if they think they can add great value, then of course. And I think we'll find lots of different people at different stages. I've got people in the community that do bookkeeping to bank reconciliation and nothing else. They don't do VAT, they don't do payroll, and they don't want to do anything. And they've got good clients, big clients, and someone else steps in afterwards and does the wages journals, does the prepayments accruals. They do nothing. They just do that, and they stick in their lane. And that's absolutely fine. This is the beauty. We get to choose. We get to design the business we want to do. We get to be experts in whatever part. There's so many areas to the industry that we're in. I think we're really lucky. We get to be, and then you might just want to work with landlords. You might want to work with MTD, ITSA, and just really go. You can get to choose and design and be the known person in that space. And I think that's really powerful. And I think, yes, we could, but I wouldn't necessarily advise it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should do it. And are your clients actually going to benefit from that? And do you really know enough? Or would you be better off learning a bit more about business and giving them a bit of advice on what you've already got in front of you?
I love that. Very, very above the line answer to the question. Keeping it positive. But yeah, kind of there is inherent risk in kind of stepping beyond what you know very, very well. Almost final question, but sort of in keeping with that bit about it being kind of low barriers to entry. Obviously, it being such a competitive place, so many people kind of wanting to come into the space because it's good money, there's a lot of opportunity, you can always improve, all these things that we're talking about. Recently, I've seen a significant increase in businesses offering particularly offshore bookkeeping services, but also some tech companies offering resource solutions by keeping the bookkeeping almost within the software, under the same roof. How do you see that kind of newcomers into the bookkeeping industry playing a role in the future of bookkeeping itself?
I think there'll be service providers for everyone that will fit and support their goals. And maybe, a big company could outsource some of this, and then they'll have someone in-house that's going to tidy it up and sort this out. So it really is about what it is you need as a client, as a business owner. Where are you on your journey? Are you equipped enough with enough knowledge around the finance function to be able to outsource successfully? What I find is what a worry is when someone's trying to, hire a bookkeeper, but they don't actually know what a bookkeeper does. That's kind of, I've helped clients, some of my clients have reached a point where they say, actually, the amount we're spending with you, we could have somebody in-house. I'm like, yeah, you could. But here with us, you've got a team of 6 different individuals that are working on your business that you can call and say, holiday doesn't matter, sickness doesn't matter. We're always here. We're always learning on and growing ourselves. So we can provide that, but sometimes an employee can't. But software, I think, utilize it where you can, but know where its limits are. And when at a point you need an expert to, interpret what's coming out. And you need to have someone that knows when something's going wrong. Isn't sometimes with technology, is it gonna do the wages journals at the end of the month? So is your P&L actually going to be correct, or does it not do that? But would you know that it needs to do that if you're buying software that you're not an expert in?
You said a few times that you like to read.
I do, yes. And
I kind of wanted to pick in a little bit as to what some of those resources might be, and if you have a book recommendation.
So I've got an old one that I started with so many years ago, and I revisit it often, and it's kind of a bit dated now, but the principles are perfect. So it's called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. It's one of the best-selling small business books of all time. I don't even know when it was first. This is the revisited one, and this is like ancient. But it's really about how we decide. We have this entrepreneurial myth, this thing of thinking, oh, I know whatever I do in my day job, I can turn into a business because I'm doing the work, the technical work really well. I'm doing the technical work, so I can run a business. And what we do is we create a job for ourselves. We create a job where we're the service provider, the technician in the business, but we forget about the operational and the managerial side of things. And actually, as you know by me talking, is that I've completely removed myself from the technical. And now I focus on all the other elements of the business and have a team, but through systems and processes that now do the technical side. And it's a really big mindset shift because we think we start a business to do the work. But that has been a book that I revisit, that I talk about, that I recommend all the time. So that would be my number one. And another one, there's a couple. Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. It's about setting yourself up with a personal brand, realizing that you and your brand are so important to getting yourself out there, to getting yourself heard. I read the book, I think 2014 for the first time. I'm actually going to go and meet Daniel Priestley next month at an event, and I'm really excited. His books are amazing, but it's about realizing that to raise your value and your credibility, you need to start getting yourself out there, and all the ways that you can do that. So talking on that is that I've actually written a book. Me and Zoe Whitman, who's my business partner, Six-Figure Bookkeeper, we launched next month, and our book is called The Bookkeeper Rises, and it's the 5-step framework for success in your bookkeeping business. And the first half of the book is all about how to set up a bookkeeping business, and the second half is 35 inspirational stories from people in our community who have set up themselves all around different circumstances, around health, around redundancy, around children, and how they've managed to build successful businesses, even though they've done it when it shouldn't have really worked out for them. And so I'm hoping that will be a book that bookkeepers will love to read, and accountants that are in practice, maybe starting up for themselves. It's all the same principles. And yeah, so it's exciting to have our own book. But that was Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. He's like, to get your credibility stamp, you need a book. So that was building up our own assets as an individual, rather than just focusing on the business as well, is really important to give us choices in the future.
Sure. And definitely because people buy into people, not businesses, right?
Absolutely. You can tell them all the stuff, but they're only going to remember how you made them feel. And you have to learn this stuff. You have to learn how to have that kind of impact on people.
Wicked. Oh, I'll tell you what book I'm reading.
Oh, yes.
I'm so basic. Have you seen this?
No.
This is really cute, I would say.
Yeah.
It's basically a guy went to, can't remember, a business school in America, and it's basically MBA notes visually. Kind of cool. Let's see if I can open like any.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Love a picture. But yeah, it's basically like, I don't know if you ever did in when you did AAT or in school or anything, like business studies, that kind of managerial accounting, business finance, marketing, negotiation, strategy, all that kind of stuff. Like basically what you learn in an MBA, but really distilled into like pictures. But they're really nice. Like it's kind of more memorable, and I think it's
like that idea. What a great book. And I love the whole idea of the MBA, and I wish we had more of it over in this country, because it's such a massive thing over in America, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And he's like, well, it says here, a quick guide to everything you'll learn in 2 years in business school. So I thought, do you know what?
Well, exactly. And you can pass all that knowledge on to your clients.
Yeah. Well, look, exciting about news about the book launch. I had no idea. Solid plug. I hope everybody reads it. I definitely will be reading it. when it comes out. So yeah, good luck with it all. I hope it goes really well. I just want to say thank you for everything. It's been a really, really amazing episode. I think it's going to come out really well because you're just so open and honest and free flowing and lovely. So
thank you.
To make sure you catch every episode, subscribe to the channel or sign up to the Sage Advice newsletter at the bottom of the page.